Departmental business, I see none on the agenda today. Item 13 is public comment. We have a few citizens signed to speak. We appreciate you guys. Keep in mind, we've got a 3-minute limit. And I'll start with our first citizen, Ms. Dolores Whitfield. Thank you, Ms. Whitfield, for coming. Please state your name and address for the record.
Dolores Whitfield, 3902 Biscayne Hill in Northport. I was trying to get some clarity from Monday night at the budget meeting here in Riverside. Mr. James Burnett made a statement, of District 2 made a statement about the school plans and the city council. Can you all tell us what he was talking about?
Well, I can only give you kind of what the movement we had since that time, and Mayor, you can chime in. I think you were pretty heavily involved, and I think Councilman Davis as well. You know, they didn't meet with us, school board, did meet with members of council individually, trying to at least give us an update on what their plans were. You know, we basically was against anything that they were doing just because it just wasn't, in my opinion, a comprehensive plan to address Northport schools and their needs. And I think that's what maybe Board Member Barnett was referring to, where he met with city council members. Mayor, I didn't know if that.
I think you're correct as far as that's concerned. I mean, we were pretty adamant that when we met with them, our feelings about what we wanted, and you know, we definitely addressed the Riverside, Matthews issues, and be done there. And the fact that, you know, if you're going to another school, you need to make sure that you're addressing the other needs of children or students that are in this whole area that would be affected. Unfortunately, they listened very politely, not real receptive.
Well, is there any way you all can go and do anything about them taking care of Matthews and Riverside? Because Riverside and Matthews, both of them need to be condemned.
I will agree with you on that one.
I do, and I think we
But
all do.
what do you do when they got the keys to the car? I think, you know, we can beat them upside the head, which I'm sure a lot of people want to do that. But the Board of Education, like we found out Monday, Ms. Whitfield, they actually are kind of they run that school system. I know we were adamantly opposed to a plan that wouldn't address the actual needs of the entire Northport schools proper, but again, they still went forward with their plan. Members of this council and the mayor's office kind of went to board meetings. We actually have a resolution, you know, on file where we were opposed to any plan that they were doing.
Well, have anyone went in there, sent anyone in there besides them to check that out? How it is? Could you get in touch with somebody with they get federal plans and they get state money, so maybe you should take it a little further.
Take it a little further by maybe engaging with somebody above them, maybe?
Above them.
Okay. Well, I will take that as a good idea. Yes, ma'am.
We'll need the parents and the community to get involved in that
They
also.
are getting involved.
I know they are, and I
They are.
applaud them for that.
So they will be involved.
Thank you.
Second citizen, Mr. Robert Lewis.
Let me say good afternoon. My name is Robert E. Lewis, and I live at 5216 Briarcliff Drive in Northport, Alabama. For the past several years, I have been the president of the Homeowners Association there. To the Honorable Mayor Donna Aaron, President Logan, rest of the council members, and all the people who have gathered here today, I just want to congratulate the council for finally electing someone to represent District 1. We have been without representation for quite a while, and we've had some people who have been appointed to that office, Councilman Roberts, but we were unable to get in touch with them, unable to communicate with them at any period of time. And the only one that was seemingly able to do anything for the community, for the district, was Dennis Hambright. And Dennis Hambright, unfortunately, passed. And following his death, then we had Councilman Boozer, we had Mayor Donna Aaron, who stood in the stead of the ones who were not there, and then we had Mayor Wayne Rose, who was appointed, but at the same time, we never were able to get in touch with him, and nor were we able to get anything done for our district. I have, at previous meetings, I made a request that we would get a light at the entrance of Briarcliff Drive, a light post. It was promised to me that, and this was nearly 2 years ago, when Councilman Hambright was a council person. We were working on that, but it seemed to have fallen by the wayside. And since he passed, I have had no communication with any council representative other than the mayor. And I would like to see if you could go ahead and do something to honor that request, because at that entrance, several people have run off the highway and into the ditch up on the curb trying to enter that community at night. It's very difficult to see how to get in when it's dark because there is no light at that entrance, only a little post street sign. So we would like to have something done about that, and like I said, I wouldn't want it to take another 2 years before we could get a light post at that entrance. We have lights behind, off the highway, but they are not effective because you can only see them once you turn into the community. But this is what I wish to address, and I just would like to be able to meet with our newly elected councilman. I congratulate you, Councilman Roberts. I'd like to meet with you, and we'll probably schedule a meeting with our community and with the mayor so that we can further address these needs. And that's all I have to say for this meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. You got him right to work. You gave him his first task.
Thank you.
There's no grace period here. There's no grace period. There's no grace period.
Mr. Lewis, you and I talked about it, and I think I talked with Mr. Higginbotham right after we did early on about having that done. It has been a while, and I apologize that I did not follow through, but I turned it over and did not follow through, and I apologize. Good. Good. We are. We will be. Thank you.
Yes, sir, and I'll get with you after this meeting. I actually live behind you, so even if I don't answer the phone, I'm sure you'll be able to find where I live.
Rest assured they will find where you live, where you work.
And your number.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Our next citizen is Lauren Peabody. Hey, Ms. Lauren, please state your name and address for the record.
Okay. My name is Lauren Peabody. My address is 3105 Killarney Lane, Northport, Alabama, 35473. I live in Northwood Lakes. So I just want to say, for all the people who did show up on Monday night that are on the board, I really appreciate your presence. We really thank you for coming out and showing your support. Mr. Hogg's mantra is, don't believe me, just watch. Mine is dream bigger. So that's what I think. I think Northport can be so much more. Repeatedly on Monday night, it was said, give us more money and we can give you what you want. And that kind of bothered me. And then I went home and I was like, okay, I need some education behind this statement. Like, what is money going to do to make a difference? Because AL.com's recent survey said the #1 concern for Alabama citizens is corruption. People say, give me money, and people kind of get freaked out about that. So I wanted to know real numbers. So basically, a recent study in Montgomery that they're talking about this week is growth. And Madison County, Baldwin County, and Shelby County are huge growth areas. And the one thing that those 3 counties have in common is a penny tax. And they have great school systems. If you look up the greatest school systems in our state, they're in those counties. All those counties have a penny tax. They all have double-digit growth, and they all started out as nothing. I know Baldwin County when it didn't have condos. I know Baldwin County when it didn't have major businesses, and that's what we're looking for. We want to attract the biggest businesses and the best people, and the only way we can do that is to have equal education for all of the kids who want to be here, and that's just what I'm looking for. So my proposal or request is a feasibility study of what we can do. Even if it doesn't work out, we just want to know, as or I want to know as a Northport citizen, what is our future? And, you know, our school board, they're great men, and they have a lot of education, and I'm sure their heart's in the right place. But I have children, and I watch other people's children grow up, and I think everybody deserves a fair chance. So, thank you, guys.
Thank you, Ms. Peabody. Our next citizen, Mr. Ray Glenn.
Mayor Aaron, President Logan, members of the council, I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today. Many of us were at the county board budget meeting at Collins Riverside on Monday, along with quite a few parents and even some of the children who attended the schools here in Northport. We all listened in a room that was too small for the crowd, trying to hear over an antique air conditioner that should have been replaced years ago. A little warm as well. Many of us waited in a hot hallway for as much as an hour because the board chose to have an executive session prior to the meeting we all came to participate in. That executive session could just as well have been held after the budget meeting, but wasn't. If they had done that, it would have stopped a lot of people that waited there an hour. I was one of them, and some of you were there too, waiting to come in. So you can use your own judgment as to, of course, the 4 o'clock time wasn't real good either, but you can use your own judgment if this was to minimize crowd there or not. I'll let you decide that. As you know, all county boards are required by law to have 2 meetings outside the central office for budget hearings, and they had to do this per law. They didn't really want to do that, and because I think they know the position we're in over here in Northport, but they did, and they may be second thinking that decision today. It was quite a crowd there. To say I came away disappointed from this meeting would be more than an understatement. Surprised? No. Those of us who know the history of this board know that the budget had already been finalized and that this hearing was just a dog and pony show. What I was surprised about, though, was the lack of empathy and respect and downright arrogance shown to the citizens of Northport and the city council. None of you were even recognized, much less thanked for being there. In fact, Dr. Davey, as it's been alluded to already today, even went as far to say that this council approved leaving Collins Riverside open in a backdoor meeting and, in his own words, like a whisper in the ear. I don't know what that means, but it don't sound good to me. I've talked to most of you, and I've been assured that that did not happen, and I believe you. But I believe the biggest insult came when our own board member, when responding to a parent about needing a new school, told her that if the people of Northport wanted new schools, they should vote to raise the ad valorem taxes. Then, in his words, they could build all the schools they needed in Northport. As one of you pointed out to me, why would we tax our citizens and turn it over to the county with their track record of what they've done with funding? And to spend our taxpayers' money in other areas, which is exactly what's been happening for a long time. I'd also like to point out that we tried to have an ad valorem tax 25 years ago, and it was voted down almost 2-1. In fact, I was involved in that, and I spoke at many PTAs in favor of the ad valorem tax all over this county. And I'd like to remind this board member that said this: there was only one tax district in Tuscaloosa County that voted for the ad valorem tax. Guess which one it was? Northport. Brookwood, where I spoke several times, I must have done a poor job speaking, but Brookwood didn't vote for it. They got a new school. South of town didn't vote for it. They got several new schools. Duncanville Middle and Big Sandy, or those two schools, very new schools. Sipsey Valley didn't vote for it. They've got a new school and a new one being built right now. Tuscaloosa County Board keeps telling us that they're out of money and can't do anything to help Northport. But they had money to fill a vacancy in a public relations job that's been vacant for 20 years. And previous superintendents and boards have chosen not to fill that position because that 100,000 plus could probably be better spent in schools. You know, if nothing else, the school could hire 2 plumbers. We have 1 plumber in Tuscaloosa County schools, 1 plumber. And if we would hire 2 plumbers, at least we would know that our little girls in these rundown schools could have clean toilets to sit on, rather than having a PR person that we're paying to try to convince people we have clean toilets for our children. We have hundreds of Northport children attending school in buildings that are hot, unclean, unsanitary, and probably some cases unsafe. In those schools, a large percentage of the students are below the poverty level. And the one thing these children have going for them is leaving an environment at home sometimes that is unhealthy in some cases and even unsafe in some cases, and being put in a hot classroom and have to go to 55-year-old toilets that won't flush. In these conditions, what are we showing them that would lead them to believe that they are important? We will see these children again. In 10 or 15 years, the pictures of some of these children will be on the arrest page of the Northport Gazette. And we will talk about how sorry they are. The sorry ones are the leaders who know this is happening and have done nothing about it. Ladies and gentlemen, we in Northport are witnessing a mass exodus, almost like rats on a sinking ship, and I hate to say it that way. Everyone in here knows people that are moving out of Northport because of this school system and what they're trying to do to us. No, the enrollment doesn't show it right now, but it is happening, and we all know it's happening. Most are heading north to go to a community that has pride in their school. I remember when we had pride in our school. Some of us worked at County High, and we had lots of pride. Both my girls were cheerleaders at Riverside and at County High, and that was different times. We've fallen on hard times right now. It's not because we don't have a great coach at County High. We do. I promise you, we have a great coach. But let me tell you what he's up against. Every school that he's going to play is every 7A school is a city school system. Every one of those schools pays almost double what he's making here at Tuscaloosa County. The coaches that work for him are paid almost half what they're paid in these other schools. Other schools have equipment that we can't afford. They have staff that we can't afford. And yet we go out and compete every Friday night. We're struggling right now. I believe if he stays, we're gonna do fine. Now, we know that athletics is not the only measure of a school system. Right now, in Tuscaloosa County, we fall 49th out of 129 in test scores. Now, that's not at the bottom, but I really believe, and I think someone has already talked about it, I believe we can do better than that. We need to strive to do better than that, because if we don't ask for it, we won't get it. In conclusion, I am asking that this council petition the county board to delay work on that 5 and 6 school until we can come up with a plan to address this critical problem we have down here in Northport. That 5-6 school can wait. These schools down here can't wait, even if it means pulling some of the funding off of that 5-6 school. I don't want it to be on my head and my conscience if we have something happen at one of these schools that we could have helped prevent. I'm also asking that this council revisit the feasibility study that was done some time ago by the city of Northport pertaining to forming our own school system. This doesn't mean we're forming a new school system. All it means is that we're going to look at it one more time. Gentlemen and ladies, what else can we do? We've played nearly every card we've got. They will not listen. They don't believe that we will form our own school system. That is very evident. Ultimately, it will be a decision of the people, because in order to have a school system, I firmly believe an ad valorem tax would have to be passed. That will be a referendum of the people. That will let us know whether or not the people of Northport would support it. And I've lived here all my life, and I've never, ever known a time when more people were discontent, had this kind of discontent for our school system. And if it's ever going to happen, it's going to need to happen now, because we got to keep our people here. The people who are leaving are the people we want to stay. And they're not coming back. Some of them have acreage here and will plan to stay here for years and have left. So I appreciate you listening. I appreciate you doing what you can for the children of Northport. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Ray. All right, item 14 is mayor and council members' business. District 1, Councilman Roberts.
Well, I've got one item on the agenda. We'll see how fast this fills up.
Oh, no, you don't have one. That's just one that you know of. You'll have some later on. But congrats, Tony, and we look forward to working with you. And I know you know the city well, working off planning and zoning, so I'm looking forward to working with you. District 2 under my business, giving everybody an update on MLK. I know Russ and Clay is in the audience. We're about 30 to 40% complete on design, so they've submitted that to ALDOT at some point. ALDOT's been really great, so they're going to get that approved, and from there, Russ and his staff will work on the environmental document process, which will be submitted to the federal government. From there, then you'll start your final design, right-of-way acquisition, things of that nature. But it's going really well, and again, mayor and council needs all the credit. They were the only ones in 20-something years that actually pulled the trigger on it, so that's going to be great for Northport. The other thing, I appreciate everybody coming up with the school board issue maybe coming out Monday. A lot of our citizens are real passionate about it. They feel strongly about our kids, and rightfully so. Again, I'll say it like I've been saying it the last couple of 3 weeks, three months or whatever. This mayor and council really has engaged that city board, the county school board like you wouldn't believe. Just to clear up clarification so we won't have coffee talk. There was no kind of whispered in the ear meeting, Mr. Glenn. We all basically told him that's not a good plan for just leaving Riverside open. Again, if I had to warn, like I said all the time, I'll say it again. Why don't you close Riverside down? Why don't you put it at Eccles? If you don't want to build a new school, maybe put Matthews at Eccles. Then open it up for Riverfront. We probably could have had a city hall and a convention center down there. Now, I just killed an RFP because I don't know where I want to put City Hall. My point to this, school board, and I love them to death, they got a tough job, but they have no vision. We all get like that. But now we, as parents and community members, if everybody with the feasibility study and maybe a penny tax, that's a big ask. That is a huge ask. So not just the parents, but for people who may not have kids. So we're going to have to go to them and say, hey, are you willing to do that? Are you willing to self-impose a tax on yourself? I want to make that clear. And that's where everybody got to say, hey, I really feel strongly about it. So city council, again, with a white glove of administration, but the people of the hammer. I agree 100%. I really disagree with what they're doing. We actually told them to defer it. Don't do anything for a couple of years. Let us work with you. Let us work with you since, I guess, by law, we are financing county high. So, we own property, I guess, so to a degree. But, again, I really want the people of Northport to know that if we really strongly about it, let's all get together. I mean, really get together from all aspects, all districts. That's where you really gonna see the city council saying, you know what, now we have real buy-in, because if we stand up here and raise tax, we're gonna have 900 people come up here and say, guys, I was against that. Why didn't you come to us? I don't have kids. So this is a situation where if you really want to do it, I engage every citizen of Northport to come, and you've already shown your displeasure with the county board. We know, in my opinion, their vision lacks that whole total community effort. And if that's something the citizens want to do, then I think the ball needs to get to rolling pretty quick. But again, I'll say it again for the record. Please, school board, why don't you close Riverside and Matthews, open it up for riverfront development or some type of development to help our city grow? Maybe move it to Eccles Middle School. Maybe the cohort system in 5 and 6, in my opinion, I just think you run out of money, and that was a justification. My only opinion observation. That's it. So that is my rant for the day. District 3, Councilman Sullivan.
Well, there's no need to talk about schools. You just covered,
Just
you covered pretty much everything that I thought. And I do want to say I do agree with what he said, so I'm not going to repeat any of that. And again, the whisper comment from Ray, I had no clue. That didn't come from us, and no idea what that is. And you know, I spoke to you a good bit this week, and I've actually been looking for that study for all week. When